Welcome back to JB Reviews. If you didn't watch my last video, I did. This is a 2024 GMC, winking at you by the way, Sierra 3500 AT4. This has a gas engine though. I want to see the performance difference between my truck and this truck. So special shout out to Jerry Seiner, Buick GMC in South Jordan, Utah. They did give me some time with this truck and it is available. Let's go ahead and get down the road so we can check out the 0 to 60 and MPG. I just reset the trip here and we're gonna see how well it does against my truck. I'm actually really excited too, by the way. Now, if you don't know this, and you'll see it in the video at some point, the gross vehicle weight rating is lower than the diesels because these trucks don't weigh as much. So the reason I'm bringing that up is I do notice these are a little bit stiffer than diesel trucks. Just a little bit. It's not a huge difference, but I can tell, like when you go over bumps on the road, you can tell. Something else I want to mention is these seats. The ventilated seats work great. It's about 82 degrees, I think, outside. I think it's about 82. Yeah, 85. And when I got in it today, I was starting to sweat. And now I'm like a little too cold, so I'm gonna turn these down just a little bit. But let's go ahead and get set up. I gotta get my draggy going. It's a nice sunny day, so it should work flawlessly. Should. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way.
Now, real quickly, this truck has 401 horsepower, 464 pound-feet of torque, made it to a 10-speed transmission, 373 gears out back.
Here we go. Alrighty, let's go.
$30. $60. Quarter mile.
So there's two things you can consider. Number one, a lot of people keep saying that using the premium fuel is bad for the engine and that's why it's performing worse. That's not true. So we proved that because this has 85 in it. Number two, this truck actually performed worse than mine did. This was almost 11 seconds. So I might be getting better performance using the premium fuel. I mean, these trucks are slow when you're high above elevation. It could be the higher trim levels. This one does not have dual alternator, so that answers that question. So that's not the problem. And yeah, it's slow. I mean, these trucks are slow. They need like another 50 more horsepower, I think. I don't know why. Well, I know what it is. I'm willing to bet you that these trucks have torque management. Now, obviously that doesn't make sense in my head because the diesels have more horsepower and torque and they put that power down pretty dang strong, but when you do accelerate from 0, there's a small dead spot, and then once you get like about to like 5 miles an hour, it just jolts, especially with the Gen 2 L5P. But I answered a question I've been really thinking about. I've been thinking there was something wrong with my truck, and that is not the case. And I don't think that using 91 really matters. I know people keep saying that this truck has lower compression. I get that, but higher octane is not going to affect this truck negatively. I'm not using 93 in higher elevation. It's still 91. So I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I feel comfortable. It makes me feel better, and it makes me sleep at night. That's all that matters. Now, as far as the RPMs go, we're doing about 63. Let me drop down to 61. Put cruise control on. There we go. Just under 1500 RPMs. 65. just under, oh, there we go. Oh, it didn't move much, so let's go to 70. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, guys. Here we go. About 65. It's right there. So we're still under 1500. This has the adaptive cruise control, so it's slowing me down. Let's get up to 70. We're about 1800, 1900 RPMs now. So it's the same. I mean, and that's no surprise. These trucks are identical, same tires as my Chevy, same axle ratio out back. And yeah, I'm really only doing this video for people who might be looking at a GMC versus a Chevy. So on the AT4s or the Denali's, they pretty much use the exact same tires. And the only exception to this test is a Denali Ultimate does not come with a gas engine. You have to get the diesel when you get the Denali Ultimate, but you can get the Denali with the gasser, and you're going to see the exact same performance that you see here. So the wind is the only thing that's going to affect today's test. Now I think I'm going to hit a headwind going back the opposite direction though. But we're at the midpoint right now, and let's go ahead and see where we are when we end off. The light is red, and we're at 11.5. Now, when I've done the test with the other trucks, I'll probably reference mine. But yeah, 11.5 is about, I think, where the other ones were too. But keep in mind the headwind, because that's going to affect it a little bit. Let's go ahead and check out some of the decibels. Wow. This one's actually really quiet. It's like 63. 62 actually. It's about 67, 68 on the window though. '61, '62, '63, like kind of back and forth between there. Yeah, this is a little bit quieter than my truck is. I'm going to show you guys the new adaptive cruise control. I don't like GMs. Like, GMs is a little scary. Or, well, I'll tell you why though. Here, let me show you something real quick. I'm going to switch cameras. If you do plan on using the adaptive cruise control, I'm going to hold this button down, which is the cancel button. Watch this. You got to pause it. So regular cruise available now, okay? If I hold it again, you're gonna have to pause it for this. Actually, no, they don't give you the prompt. So mine actually gives you like a prompt that shows you like what happens when you disable the adaptive cruise control. So this truck does not do that, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, the adaptive cruise control does not work as good on these trucks because they're very abrupt. Now, I will say I did improve it because the gap was the closest setting basically, so this allows you to drive a little bit closer to the cars. But if you're going to be like using it to stop and things like that, yeah, you're going to want it at the furthest distance. There it is. Hopefully you guys saw that. So at 80 miles an hour, we're still under 2,000 RPMs. See that? We're like at 1900. That is not bad. Not bad at all. But if I have a chance to show you guys the adaptive cruise control, I will show it to you. But I don't know if you guys have been paying attention. I did change the screen to how I have mine set up. I'm at 165 degrees, 167 now for the transmission temperature. Then there's the tire pressure, 60 up front, 80 out back, which is what the door sticker says. So this is what you can expect for fuel economy. Now, if you air up the tires a little bit on the front, they do help a little bit with the fuel economy. I've noticed a little bit of a jump to about 70 PSI. So if you're trying to save some money at the pump, that's something I would definitely recommend you guys do. Now, this is why I don't use the furthest distance away, because look how far away I am from the truck ahead of me. That is kind of far. You do have this little guy too. And it will show you like a distance, like once you get a little bit closer. Let me see if I can get a little bit closer. So it does turn blue when you disable it by pushing the gas. And sometimes it'll give you like a countdown, like I guess like if you get too close. Let me just change the distance down to the closest here. Huh, this one's not doing it. Mine definitely does. Maybe I'll do a separate video with my truck. That way you guys can see it, but it'll show you like the distance, I guess, in seconds. That's how I'm reading it basically. I'm not really sold on the adaptive cruise control with GM yet, but I'm glad that they have it, because if you're on a road where you're going 55 miles an hour, that's where that system works the best. We just made it back. I'm just gonna pull right here. 13.7 miles, 13.5 MPG, and we averaged about 43.8 miles, and figure we drove about 19 minutes or so. Believe it or not, 13.5 is actually pretty good. I tested a Ram Hemi, 2 Chevys including mine, with the 6-speed and my 10-speed, and then a Ford 7.3. And the Chevy 2500 with the 6-speed did the best. I think it got like 14.9, but that was like the lightest truck of the group. The Ford 7.3 was second place, and my truck, I believe, was last place, and the Hemi came in third place. So I believe this truck might have beat the Hemi, but it did not beat the 6-speed Chevy or the Ford 7.3. But 0 to 60, guys, is slow. I'm high above elevation, and that's part of that reasoning. This one does not have the dual alternator, so that's not the problem. So if you get dual alternators, that's not going to affect the performance. So I figured that out, and I think that these trucks have torque management. That's the only thing I can think of. Like, that's the only reason why this truck is so slow, because when I hooked it up to my trailer, it did better for 0 to 60 compared to the 6-speed, which beat it for the 0 to 60 unloaded. So I don't know. That's just something you have to consider. Now, this truck is not a racer. I'm not trying to make these race trucks. Again, I only do these tests because you don't really see a lot of content on them. Like, a lot of people aren't really doing 0 to 60 with these trucks, but it's good to know just to give you an idea. I still think that GM should consider, and I know that someone's gonna get mad at me in the comment section, Matthew Anderson, but I think they should do a 410. I'm sorry. Like, I know that it has the 10-speed. I know first, second, and third gears are pretty darn deep, but I would like to at least know if there's a difference. And then from there, if it doesn't, then I'll say that I was wrong, because I've been wrong many times in my life, and hey, who knows, I might be wrong about that too. But I hope you guys liked the video. Special shout out to Jerry Seiner, Buick GMC in South Jordan, Utah, for giving me some time with their truck. Be sure to check out the inventory. They have trucks coming in all the time. Most of them have been spoken for, but sometimes someone will back out of the deal and you can have a chance to get you a brand new 2024.